So here's page one of unit conversions. First, we're just going to go through some abbreviations, which you've heard before and maybe know, and maybe some you don't hear too often. So first of all, kilo means 1,000, and you've heard that a lot with kilometer and kilogram. So whenever you hear kilometer and kilogram, you're saying 1,000 meters, kilometer, and 1,000 grams, kilogram. So basically, a kilometer, 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters, and a kilogram is 1,000 grams. Another one that's very popular is centi. And centi kind of means 100, but instead of meaning 100, it means 1 over 100. So actually, it's like 0.01 or like 1/100. It's smaller. Okay? So when you have 100 centimeters, that makes 1 meter. Okay? This is centimeters on the smaller one. Okay? And then deci, that's not used very often. It's kind of like centi, except for it's 1/10 instead, so 10 decimeters. Milli is kind of the opposite of kilogram. So instead of kilogram, where it's a 1,000 grams, a milligram is 1/1,000th of a gram. Okay, so those are the main prefixes that you should know. Number one in the first exercise. Write down the symbol used for the quantities in bold. The acceleration of an object that has units measured in kilometers per hour squared. Okay, so all they want you to do is write the unit. So it would be kilometers per is like division, hour squared. Okay, what about the next one? The density of an object with a mass of 23 kilograms and a volume of 1.5 meters cubed. Okay, so for this, now we're just supposed to write down the symbol. So we're going to write kilograms, which is in the numerator because density is mass divided by volume. Kilograms divided by meters cubed. Okay. And last one, the average speed of an object that travels 500 meters in 70 seconds. So that would be 500 meters divided by 70 seconds. So that would be meters per second. Okay? All right, next one, two. Write down these units in words. Okay, so millimeters is millimeters, like that, okay? Convert each of these to the stated unit. So if I have 32 kilograms, let's change it to meters. So 32 kilometers, and I want to convert that to meters, I'm going to use a conversion, which is 1,000 meters is 1 kilometer. We're going to use that conversion. We're going to make a domino out of it. It's either going to be 1 kilometer over 1,000 meters, or it's going to be 1,000 meters divided by 1 kilometer. So which one are we going to use? We're going to use the one which will cancel out the unit that I prefer not to have, which is kilometers. We don't want kilometers, we want meters. So how do we get rid of kilometers? We're going to multiply it times a domino, which has kilometers in the bottom and meters on top. Now, the quantities we're going to use are these ones here. So 1,000 meters on top, 1 kilometer on the bottom. 1,000 meters on top, 1 kilometer on bottom. Then I'm going to multiply this out. So it's going to be kilometers are going to cancel. Okay, let me do that in a different color. Kilometers are going to cancel. And then I'm going to multiply 32 times 1,000 and divide by 1. So that would be 32,000 meters. Okay. Next one. I'm going to change 128 centimeters to meters. So I do know from up here that there are 100 centimeters in a meter. So I'm going to start with my original amount, 128 centimeters. I'm going to multiply it times a domino with centimeters on the bottom so I can cancel them out. And I got meters on top. So what's the relationship? Well, the relationship is 100 centimeters in a meter. So I'm going to put 100 centimeters in a meter. So if I do the division, because it's 128 times 1 divided by 100, I would get 1.28 meters. You can do that on the calculator, okay? Number 4a. 500 grams, change it to kilograms. So if I have 500 grams, I want to multiply it times a domino that has grams on the bottom to cancel out the grams, and it's going to have kilograms on top, so that the new unit is going to be kilograms. So what unit conversion relates kilograms with grams? So kilograms with grams. So there's 1,000 grams in a kilogram. So 1,000 grams in a kilogram. And to find the amount, I'm going to take the 500, multiply times 1, it's still 500. I divide by 1,000. 500 divided by 1,000 is 0.5. So 0.5 kilograms. Okay. Number 5A. 0.08 seconds to milliseconds. So if I have 0.08 seconds, 0.08 seconds, I'm going to change it to milliseconds by multiplying it times a domino that has seconds on the bottom and milliseconds on top. How many milliseconds in a second? There's 1,000 milliseconds in a second. How do we know that? Because we know that there is 1,000 millimeters in a meter, so it's kind of the same, isn't it? I cancel out the seconds, and I multiply 0.08 times 1,000. So 0.08 times 1,000, it would be let's see, if we put that in the calculator, we'd get 80 milliseconds. Okay, last problem, 6A. Convert 67,800,000 milligrams to kilograms. Give your answer correct to the nearest kilogram. So we have 67,800,000 milligrams to kilograms. So we're going to multiply it times a domino first with milligrams on the bottom and grams on top, because we can change milligrams easily to grams, although changing milligrams directly to kilograms is a little bit challenging. So let's do the conversion from milligrams to grams. It would be 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram, right? Because there's 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. It's just kind of the same thing. And then we're going to do a cancellation for milligrams and milligrams. Now we want to get rid of the grams because actually we want kilograms. So let's convert the grams with another domino to kilograms. How many grams are there in a kilogram? There's 1,000 grams in a kilogram. So then we cancel out grams with grams. And then we can multiply all the tops, 67,800,000 divided by 1,000 divided by 1,000. That would give me 67.8 kilograms. Okay? B, that was A. So B, convert 35,802 meters to kilometers. Okay, so 35,802 meters times a domino, which has meters in the bottom and kilometers on top, 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So that would be equal to 35.802 kilometers. Because I canceled out the meters, I'm left with kilometers. Remember, you can do all these divisions in the calculator because in math studies you can always use a calculator. Convert 0.654. We're always going to write the initial amount on the left here. Then we multiply it times a domino. The domino needs to cancel out the original unit and replace it with the new unit. We can make a conversion that converts directly between milligrams and grams, so I'm going to do that. There's actually 1,000 milligrams in a gram. So now I'm going to have 0.654 times 1,000. So that's going to be 654 milligrams. Okay, and just to show you, the grams cancel out and I'm left with milligrams, right? So that's the answer for C. And that's it for page 1.